Andrew, when did you guys start diving into Texas Tech, and what have been your impressions of this Red Raiders front?
Yeah, I mean, we started diving into them last Monday of the bye week. I just treated it, like a normal week. And so we've been watching them, and they're a great team. Great up front. They got some really, really good edge rushers, especially some really great interior D linemen, some really great linebackers as well. So, kind of as Coach was just saying, as he was finishing up, I heard the end of what he was saying, and just excited for the opportunity to play against the best. That's what you want to do is play against the best, and that's what we get, right? That's the chance that we get right here. And so what a fun opportunity for us. Got a lot of respect for those guys on that other side of the ball. So it's going to be a fun challenge for us, but definitely excited for the challenge ahead.
As a guy that has navigated, possible playoff implication games, what's your mindset for a moment like this where it's two top 10 teams with high stakes involved?
Yeah, I think it's the same mindset every week. And I've said this, before, but you have to view every game like it's a top 10 game, every game like it's a playoff implication game, right? And I think that's been our key to success this year, right? Is that every opportunity, if we're down in the fourth quarter, whatever it is, we're fighting like it's the most important game of the season because at that moment is the most important game of the season. And so now you get a chance, right? We're both ranked. And so obviously there's a lot at stake. I think, everybody realizes that there's a lot at stake. But at the end of the day, it's just another chance for us to go out there to get better, to improve, and to really just get excited for what's ahead. But I'm just so excited for this week. Just really looking forward to this game, and trying not to look forward to really what it means, but just going out and trying to be 1-0 this week against Texas Tech.
Andrew, wanted to ask you about Bear Backmeyer, kind of like his demeanor in the huddle, the way he kind of commands the huddle. Is he comparable to any quarterbacks that you've played with before? Or what's his style there like?
Yeah, honestly, he does remind me a little bit of JJ McCarthy. It's fun to see JJ out back yesterday and playing well. But he's got a lot of the similar traits. JJ was just an ultimate competitor, went out there and was always calm and collected. There's a story going around of his first start this season where they were down and he was struggling throughout the first three quarters and just said, hey, is there any place you'd rather be? And that was just JJ's character. And Bear's the same way, right? It doesn't matter if we're down 10 at Arizona with 6 minutes left or, down big at Iowa State, whatever it is. Bear's just always consistently really confident. He commands the huddle well. I've never seen him flinch. And that's a huge amount of I have a huge amount of respect for him, especially as a true freshman, to be able to do what he's doing. But yeah, I mean, honestly, playing with a guy like JJ McCarthy and now seeing Bear do that, I do see a lot of those similarities between those two guys and how they manage the huddle, how they command respect in the huddle, and then just the way they go out and compete as well.
Yeah, Andrew, you're going up against a guy like David Bailey, he's leading the nation in sacks. Do you ever think about matchups like this in terms of your potential future as a pro going head to head with a guy like that?
I mean, at the end of the day, right, the main focus is just winning this week. It's a great opportunity. He's a phenomenal player. Watched a lot of film on him, and there's a reason that he's number one in the nation in sacks, and there's a reason he's going to be a high draft pick. And I'm just excited for the challenge and the opportunity. At the end of the day, I'm more focused on helping my team get to 1-0 than what my future holds. And so whatever I need to do as a player in order to help my team get to 1-0, I'm going to make sure I do that this week and help my team to the best of my ability.
I've been noted you're no stranger to playing in top matchups of this caliber. What's the biggest thing you need to focus on in terms of managing all the hoopla around it?
Yeah, I think going back to what I said earlier, the main focus always has to be just being 1-0 this week. Not focusing on what comes after November is really just right now. Hey, this game we have Texas Tech. They're a phenomenal team. We're a really good team. So what are we going to do this week to go 1-0? It's going to be a fun environment. And so I think you have to take that approach every single week, right? We get through this week and then we got another 3 really good games coming up after that. So the focus every week is, again, just go 1-0, do your best, practice hard, play hard, and let the chips fall where they may.
Andrew, what were areas of focus for the offensive line during the bye week?
Yeah, I think a big focus was making sure that we're rested and recovered, ready for this week. It's a long season, and playing 6 games in a row like we did from our last bye week, guys are a little banged up naturally. No major injuries, which is a huge blessing for our offensive line. Making sure guys were healthy and recovered, but then also making sure that we were mentally prepped coming into this week. It's a great advantage to have a bye week because you get to really study out the nitty gritty details of your opponent, and you get those full 2 weeks to know your opponent better. So we were really watching their defense, watching their players. Again, like I've mentioned before, they got great playmakers. So just trying to get the advantages that we can to go out and play our best as an offensive line, because we're going to need our best game this year. And we're excited to go out and show the world what we can do.
Hey, Will, thanks for being here today.
For sure.
Well, we've seen a couple of times, in games that BYU's played, and also in other games that have been played during the season, where uh, kicks on field goal tries and PA tries will come in like kind of low to the ground, like the snap comes in low to the ground, and the holder's able to adjust it quickly on the fly. How valuable is that for a kicker to have a holder that's just able to make that split second change in decision after a bad snap or a low snap?
Yeah, it's huge. I've said for a long time it takes a lot more than one person to kick a field goal, and just the whole cohesion between snapper, holder, and kicker is a big deal. If a snap isn't perfect or whatever, there's always Sam there to make it right. And then if Sam's struggling with a hold, then I can always make him right. And that's something that we've built over the last however many months that we've been together. It's the whole point of our off season is just to build up that cohesion, to be able to go and execute in a game.
Well, Coach told us that the staff doesn't really pay attention to the college football playoff rankings, to where you guys are in the standings. How about the players? Are you guys going to be tuned in Tuesday night to that, or is what goes on among the players with that sort of thing?
There's a lot of noise at this stage, at this level of football. There's always going to be a lot of noise. I think as a team, our team especially, we're really good at staying in the moment, focusing on what we need to focus on. I think in my position, we take it even more to the extreme where we have one job and we just got to go and execute our job. But as a whole, I think the team is very good at staying in the present, blocking out the outside noise, and just focusing on what's going on here in the building and taking that week by week and day by day.
Then I was just going to ask you about a milestone. I think you made your 50th field goal, or what does that mean to you? And as it's kind of coming near the end of your career, what's the legacy you think you're leaving as a kicker at BYU?
It's so cool. I love to just kind of step back and have the perspective of growing up in Utah County and then later moving up to Kaysville, and watching BYU football my whole life. It's cool. It's cool to be able to be here and to have my footprint on things that are going on. Yeah, I don't know. I think coming here and kicking field goals is something I've wanted to do for a long time, and getting the opportunity to do it is a major blessing and something that I don't take for granted.
Yeah, Will, you've been part of a pretty historic run here for BYU. They never started back-to-back seasons 8-0. What do you just make of what this team's, I guess, made up of in a way?
Yeah, you hear us talk a lot about culture, love and learn, all the things that Kalani teaches. I think that's something that we take very seriously in our building, being humble and hungry. Never too prideful to put in the work, but always wanting to get better and improve and see the gains that we can see in our own positions and our own lives. And that's something that's so ingrained into our team right now, where upperclassmen to underclassmen, whoever it is, correcting each other, making sure that we're taking the strides that we need to be able to go and execute on game day.
Will, in the middle of the season, you had a 3-game stretch there where you had one miss in some of those games, but the last game, Iowa State, you had a 50-yarder. Just maybe take us through the process. I know you're big on the mental side, but just things that you do to always stay ready despite maybe a few misses to get those big moments for a 50-yarder and then some.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing and something that's really important about being a kicker is that every kick, every moment is individual. I think as fans, people love to get caught up on the streaks or what happened this game versus last game or all of that. But for a kicker, we can't really see it like that. It's every time I go on the field, it's a brand new opportunity, to go and do my thing. And sometimes you kick the ball and no matter what you can control, sometimes it doesn't go in. Sometimes there's things that I need to do better to kick the ball straight. But once it's off my foot, it's gone and we're on to the next moment. So it's cool. And it's a blessing getting opportunities like that 50-yarder or big kicks and big moments, to go and execute. And just like you would with a miss, when you make a big kick, once it's off your foot, it's gone and you're on to the next one. So that's the mentality I take. And that's something that I feel very confident in is the ability to just put off whatever kick is off my foot and get on to the next moment.
Going back to last week with the bye week, what I know Andrew said that rest was big for the offensive lineman. For you, a specialist, was rest also important? What did you focus on during the bye week to get ready for the stretch run?
Yeah, rest is always good. I think my body's probably doing better than most of the guys on the team, just with the nature of the position, obviously. But I think for me, it was good to just get away for a little bit. My wife and I went up to Park City and just hung out up there. It's a good mental break and a mental reset. You always want to play a football game, and it's always exciting to play a game on Saturday. But I think it's good just to get away from it for a second and recharge and lock in for the next few games coming up.
Hey, Tanner, thanks for being here today.
Yep, thanks.
All right, what questions do we have for Tanner?
Yeah, Tanner, just give us a feeling of how the bye week went from your perspective.
Yeah, I thought it was a great week for us. Still were able to accomplish a lot as far as practice and preparation for Texas Tech. It's always great to get an extra week of prep, especially in a big game like this. We're able to get a lot of good recovery into some good rest for the bodies. Playing a six game stretch, we got a little banged up, but we should be in a really good spot heading into our preparation for this week.
What do you said you had extra prep for Texas Tech? What do you expect seeing on film?
Yeah, we were able to watch the Kansas State game on Saturday too, in addition to the film prep that we've already put in. From a defensive perspective, I guess evaluating their offense, they got a lot of great personnel, two good running backs that they use. Their tight end too, number 7, gets a lot of good yards after the catch too. He had some big plays in the Kansas State game, and some great receivers for Morton to throw the ball down the field too. But just pretty balanced offense. I feel like they're able to get the ball in the hands of their playmakers and get good chunk yardage plays, and they've consistently showed that on film. So yeah.
Yeah, Tanner, as far as your own improvements and the defense in general, what aspects have you guys been focused on as far as just defensive improvements moving to this final stretch of the season?
I think a focus for us that came up after some of our Iowa State game review is just kind of shifting our mentality from the doing your 111th to the dominating your 111th. Like, not enough anymore. Is it good enough to just do your 111th? Like, you got to win your 111th. And so in that Iowa State game, you could kind of see there was a big contrast between like the first 28 minutes and the last 32. Kind of looked like two different defenses that were out there for us. But just in the way that guys were winning their 111th and doing their job and doing it well. So continuing to trust our scheme, but doing your job while making plays and dominating is a mentality that we're trying to definitely ingrain within our heads so that we can go out and play that way. And I think it's going to allow us, if everyone's doing their job, everyone's in the right spot, we have such a sound scheme and defense that we're going to limit big yardage plays and always put ourselves in good situations to win on third down.
Tanner, was that, just to follow up on that, was that Kalani or Jay Hill who emphasized the message of dominating your 111th?
A bit of both. It was definitely addressed to the whole team, and then again reiterated to the defense from Coach Hill. But just watching the tape from that game, like, there's such a clear difference in when everyone's doing their job and dominating in their one-on-one, and we were able to just kind of shut down the offense. Their offense in that game, and the last 32 minutes, we outscored them 31-3 compared to the first 28 minutes. So just believing too in our scheme and trusting that everyone around you is going to do their job, and so you just got to do yours.
Then I wanted to ask you, is there anything that you can, as someone who was part of the team last year, similar spot, undefeated heading into November, any lessons that can be learned from last year's run that can be applied this year to ultimately get to the goals that you guys are aspiring for?
Yeah, I was thinking about this a lot today, actually, so that we could kind of relay this as leaders to our team. I think last year we might have gotten stuck in a little bit of a mindset of a play not to lose instead of a play to win, because we were 9-0 and we're in a position. And I think some guys just kind of got on their heels a little bit and we're too much in that mindset of playing not to lose. So we still got to have a attack mindset where we're out there playing to win, knowing that no team's going to just hand that to us. So we got to go attack it, and every game we play, we gotta take it.
Yeah, Kalani mentioned that defensively, you guys are looking healthier than you have in a while. And what does that just mean for the group? And maybe specifically, you're getting Raider back in the lineup.
Yeah, I mean that gives us it gives us a lot of good confidence knowing that we can rotate maybe a little bit more than we have in some weeks past where, some of the guys have been having to play just, every snap or more snaps than they maybe were used to playing. So we've got a lot of great depth and great personnel on our defense. So being able to utilize all of those guys and keep us all fresh, I think is going to put us in a great spot.
Yeah, Tanner, you touched on this a little bit, but you've got a lot of experience playing in big games and obviously game day is going to be in Lubbock this week. You've got two top 10 teams. The CFP is starting to kind of worm its way out. How do you keep this team focused and I guess not focus on that kind of stuff, focus on each week, game after game, like you've been doing?
I think it comes down to what Coach Kalani preaches and helps us to remember. It's just continue to do the small and simple things, right? Don't get distracted by the outside noise, by the national media, by, us being 10.5-point underdogs. Like there's so many factors that if we give too much attention to can be really distracting and ultimately become detrimental to, the way that we prepare or play. So just continuing to focus on us, our preparation, our team, our teammates, our coaches. And when we are united in that and our brotherhood is strong, when we go out there and play the way that we know we're capable of, we should always love the outcome. So, just staying focused and remembering what things really matter and what things don't.